It is the sounds of silence. Welcome to the Straight Red Card. Brett and I just had like a 10-minute fucking discussion about bands and music and what sucks and doesn't suck, or what he likes and I think sucks and what I like. And well, no, we didn't talk about what I like, but and that's fine.
Well, let's also point out that when it comes to music, you are quite the music snob.
I am an independent music slob. Snob, not a slob.
Too.
Well, I'm a slob too, actually. Now that I'm divorced, I'm just a slob, but that's okay.
Who do I have to impress?
Exactly. I am not interested in impressing anybody at this point. Anyhow, I had a great run. It was fabulous. I'm not saying my life's over. It's not something I need right now, nor do I need it. I don't need to need it, although Derek, some people think I should.
So, Derek, you don't need it. You have our community. We're here for you, Derek.
That's correct. I've spawned children. I'm done. Things are good. And, I'm much more happy hanging out with myself in many ways, more ways than one. All right. So, was that too graphic? All right.
It depends on how you approach life and read into things. Sure.
I don't need drama. I don't need drama. And I don't think it like that necessarily has to be drama, but it often is. And the one thing I don't need in my life is drama. I just don't need it.
Well, you picked up Berhalter and USSF.
Yeah.
That's its own baggage right now.
Oh shit, it is. It is. It's a whole baggage on, and someday we'll get back into that again and tell a few more stories, and when it's safe to talk about it. And it's not like
we're getting all these stories, and it's like, oh, we can't say anything yet. We'll wait for a decade.
Yeah,
hopefully we're still around.
Dude, I had to wait a decade to tell that Sasha Kleshin story.
I know.
So, that's how long it takes. Listen, it's not like we're worried about being blackballed people. We know that people in other places don't like us. They don't like what we say, and that's fine. We're okay with that.
Blackballed, blue-balled.
There are going to be guests that used to come on our show at Big Soccer who probably won't come on our show anymore because, I guess we're too critical. Like we've been thrown in the big bag of critical people like Filippo and Pete.
We're a bunch of nobodies that have a YouTube channel.
Yes.
That people are interested. And this is the big thing when it comes to like why some people succeed in stuff like YouTube and some people don't. Is people love the honesty and genuine aspect of people when they come out here and they just say what their thought process is. We're obviously not paid by anybody, clearly. And if you do want to pay us, give us a call.
Not even One Soccer hasn't even given us a call yet. I guess we got to hit like the another level before they give us a ring.
But anyways, there are people who will succeed and people who won't succeed because, quite frankly, the general public, when their eyes are open and they're looking at it, they can see through a lot of the bullshit. Plain and simple.
Yes, and we're just two drunk guys at a bar watching a game and talking soccer. So that's what this show's about. If you don't like that, you don't want to talk to a couple drunk guys or listen to a couple, drinking dudes. One of them's lit, the other one's like lit, but lit in a different way. Actually, lit in multiple ways. And we don't. Well, Brett. Okay. Anyhow, I don't want to get Brett in any trouble.
I'm high on life.
I am high on other things. All right, so let's talk about this. Let's break down this Jamaican roster real quick before we get to the U.S. roster and the changes that are going to happen because of things. Brooks, in particular, Ream. Well, that doesn't really change much, but so we know generally. I think, and Brett, you can disagree with me, but I do think the Jamaica are going to come out in a 4-5-1 and they might press like the first 7-8 minutes, but I think after that, they're going to sit down in a mid to low block and then just counter us. I think that's what's going to happen.
I think they're going to come and they're going to basically do what Canada and El Salvador did to us. And
you would think
I think they're going to sit back, and I think they're going to counter quickly, counter with numbers, as quickly as they can.
Although with their manager, you never know what you're going to get. It's a total fucking crapshoot with that guy. And I know
that's the opposite of Berhalter.
Yeah, Berhalter's.
You know exactly what you're going to get.
Well, Pete doesn't think so. Pete often says he's impossible to predict, yet we continue to predict him. So, I mean, generally, we're right on. We're at least 90 to 80%, 85%. We get, when we do our predictions, we get them right. And then we'll get into that later because I have Areola outright. You got some way outright. Anyhow, but you know what we're going to generally get with the Jamaicans is they're still missing their best player. Leon Bailey is not going to be there. Okay. That's a huge. Morrison is not going to be there. And so, you know, that probably has a lot to do or somewhat to do with the whole conflict between the Jamaican Federation and some of the players, because we don't often see Leon Bailey accept a call up from Jamaica. And that's good news for us, but we're still going to have to deal with Andrew Blake, who's I think one of the best MLS goalkeepers out there. At goalkeeper.
Oh, easily. So, yeah, absolutely.
And
despite Turner's hotness this season, yeah, absolutely. I think Blake is arguably one of the easiest to pick decisions to pick as far as a top goalkeeper. Easy.
And so then we get to the 4-man backfield, because I think it's only going to be 4, because I think they're going to flood the midfield with 5, which is going to make it really hard for our guys because we play a 4-3-3 generally. But I do think you got Pinnock, who plays for Brentford. So these are lower league guys, right? These aren't like top of the box guys. And I'm trying to think who the other guy would probably be, but I think we're going to see a lot of MLS guys and a lot of USL guys and some guys in lower leagues in England in defense, whether it be Alvis Powell, who's, you know, got a ton of caps for them, and Kamar Lawrence. I think you can pretty much depend on them. I think Lawrence will start out left and Brown will probably start out right. But maybe not. You just never know with this manager. You really don't. But the bottom line is that these are still really decent players. They're not bad players, and they're going to put up a fight.
Well, and I think one thing you're failing to recall is our midfield is going to be open because our verticality is going to open it up for us. So no concern there. I think they can flood the midfield all they want, but we're going to have our verticality, and it's going to open up our midfield.
Oh, yeah, that verticality is going to be a center back making a fucking 80-yard pass. Over the heads of the defense. And I do think
bypasses 60-70% of the Jamaican team. Maybe it'll work.
Yeah, well, probably won't, because they do have decent center backs. Even in this situation, you have Damian Lowe, who does play at Al Ittihad, and I think he's still, even though he's, you know, playing in this weird country, it's not a weird country. It's just not. I mean, it's just not where you would suspect he would be playing right now.
Playing in a weird country.
I mean, he's
not called the United States. Weird, strange.
He's only, I guess he's older. He's like 28 years old. That's not where I expected Damian Lowe to end his career. But he's still a good player, and I think he'll be the other center back. We'll move to the midfield, where they plan to flood it with 5. Well, then it gets really complicated about like who's going to be part of the flood. And I guarantee you part of that flood's going to be, I don't think Bobby D. Cordova Reed, who plays for Fulham, he's one of their best players and hasn't really had a lot of call-ups. I mean, he's got a lot of call-ups, just doesn't have a lot of like I accept your call-ups, but he's going to be there. He's going to be dangerous. He's going to be a guy we're going to have to keep an eye on. Then we got Tyrick McGee, who plays at Eupen in Belgium. We've got Kamar Roof, who's again, he's an older player. He's on Rangers. He doesn't play enough. But again, these are just guys on the fringes that you can't take for granted. They can't be that bad. You can't be that bad of a player if you're on the Rangers roster. You're not a horrible player. So these are guys we're gonna have to keep an eye on.
Well, let's be fair. I mean, even El Salvador had a team that encompassed a lot of domestic players in their league, and then mixed in with some MLS and USL. So I mean, you can't count any team out when playing against us. I mean, it depends on how we come out and approach the game. We could come out and dominate the game, and we dominated Jamaica in the recent, not necessarily the Gold Cup, but the friendly prior to the Gold Cup. We did well against them, but I mean, it just depends on. I mean, that was a completely different squad, by the way, but
yeah,
but still,
this is going to be a slightly better squad than Jamaica brought last time, where they tied Costa Rica. So, you can't just say because they're last in the 8 that this is going to be like an easy game. It's not. And by the way, I have Bobby Reed on my Fulham team with my stepson. We play every Tuesday, and we play as Fulham, and he's really goddamn good. I mean, we're playing the championship in that league, but he's really good. And if he's as good as he is on FIFA, got to keep an eye out from that guy coming from a midfield position. And then the forwards, we got to look out for Michael or Mikhail. I think it's Mikhail Antonio, who's been playing for West Ham. That's a threat, dude. That guy could be dangerous. So it's only one of these guys going to start up top, and I think it's going to be him. But they do have Shamar Nicholson, who they could play out wide or play in the middle. So they got Andrew Gray from Queens Park Rangers too. So listen, it's not going to be an easy game. It's not going to be easy in any way.
It never is against Jamaica, in all honesty.
And they are at do or die time. They got fucked in the first 3 games. They got 1 point, right? 1, am I right? 1 with the tie. And so they need points, and they need them badly. So they're looking for at least a tie in this first game. And so we might see a park the bus in the last, at least in the latter parts of the game, if not right away after like the first 8 or 9 minutes, because they're going to press I think at the beginning, because that's happened to us in other games where other teams press us early, they get some results. And so they see we're kind of freaking out, trying to play out of the back. And then it comes down to, are you playing Turner? Are you playing Stefan? Blah, blah, blah. And so let's talk about that. I mean, I still think Pete and Filippo, I think both said Stefan would start. And
I feel like they're channeling their inner Berhalter. They're trying to think how Berhalter thinks whenever Stefan is healthy.
Yeah.
I think I won't say most people, because there's still going to be some people that are going to look at Turner saying, he plays for the Revolution. But
yeah.
My standpoint, and this is a standpoint for pretty much any sport in general, but when you have a player that's on fire, you don't replace him.
Right.
I mean, he's been absolutely solid, and it's not like a broken record in all honesty, but he's been solid in our World Cup qualifying. He's been solid in the Gold Cup. He's been solid with the Revs, and he was solid at the MLS All-Star game. I mean, at what point do you just simply say he may not necessarily be the most talented goalkeeper right now, but he is the most informed goalkeeper?
Yeah, and here's my prediction. I think Turner starts the first 2 games. And
guarantee the second game.
That's the thing. I think that you want to have some flow there. So you don't want to start Stefan and then go back to Turner. So there's two ways this could happen. It could be Turner, Stefan, or it could be Stefan, Turner. So, but if
that's not to say that it can't be Turner. I mean, again, if he starts the first 2 games and he's on fire, just literally not making any mistakes, going to that 3rd game, I can't imagine you'd sub out a goalkeeper that's on fire, unless he's spent, or maybe he's picked up a knock or something. I know 3 games in 6 days is rough for anybody, but I mean, if anybody's going to be able to do it, I mean, goalkeeper for the most part, you make a couple of solid saves, and that's all that's really required of you.
I think it's the travel that will wear guys down.
That could absolutely be the issue.
More than the game. And I think that's why you let Turner do the first 2, and then you're like, okay, Stefan.
And I'll come out and say that I'm more than comfortable with Stefan playing between the pipes. I just personally would prefer Turner, who's been solid, who's been absolutely solid for us. There's no reason to make the switch unless you're just exhausted or tired or pick up a knock. One of the two, three.
Totally
4.
agree. But then Greg make this whole schmear, this whole like blah 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 about how Horvath's not getting first team minutes, but that doesn't apply to Stefan too. I mean, Stefan's not getting any minutes either. Yep. He's getting minimal minutes. So
very minimal. Arguably just as much as Horvath, in all honesty.
I know, and he said he was concerned about Horvath. He must be concerned about that regarding Stefan. So
that means instead of Stefan playing on that third match, it's going to be Johnson, right?
No, I don't think so.
So again, this takes me back to the point that I made in the previous segment, where the Horvath exclusion is not because he's fighting for a spot and because he's not playing at all. It's a numbers game, and there's no reason to have 4 goalkeepers called in when you're probably only going to play 1, maybe 2.
Yep, I think that's true.
That's what I'm thinking it is.
Yeah, I do. So we'll see how that works out. Left back, we know versus Jamaica. At least I believe that Robinson is going to start out left.
Well, yes, given that he can't play in Panama, that would make sense.
I think he'll play 2 out of the 3 games, and we're not sure if he's going to be able. Did we see the red list today? It came out today. The new red list from England. So if it's not a red list, then we might see Robinson. I still think we're going to see him 2 out of 3 games. I don't think we're going to see him all 3 games. Nobody's playing 270 minutes for 3 games in a row, or 90 minutes for 3 games in a row in this short ass window. I think you're going to see a lot of flip flopping since Greg's learned about
Panama is on the red list for UK.
Okay, so you found it. All right. Well, they're still fucked then.
Yeah.
But I do think we'll see Steve Robinson on the left, Dest on the right, and then we've got to replace Brooks. Brett, who's replacing Brooks in that midfield alongside Miles Robinson that we picked?
I personally, I would pick Miazga. That's who I'd call him. He's on fire in La Liga. There's no reason not to include him. I know that I brought up the comment how Berhalter could bring Sands in, who's capable of filling in both center back and 6. And that could be the reason why he may get called ahead of him. But if it's my decision, I'm pulling in Miazga.
Dude, if I wake up tomorrow and it's Sands, I will not be surprised.
No, absolutely. I think I
at all
wholeheartedly.
Yeah. If it was Sands, I'm going to be like, whoa, okay, that's not surprising. On the other hand, I think Miazga wakes up in the morning and goes, holy fuck. How far down on the ladder am I? What do I have to do? Do I have to, do I have to warm Berhalter's balls over a small fire and cuddle them before I get called up? What have I done besides, lightly kicking his puppy? I mean, it's getting to that point. It really is. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I just know intuitively there's a problem there.
Well, and we have 4 center backs right now, and of course Berhalter is going to have to bring another one because he's going to want the opportunity to possibly play a 3 center back at some point.
Yep.
So he's going to have a center back in there. Now the question is, do you think he's going to feel comfortable with Sands as a center back? Probably. But again, personally, I would say I would still bring in Miazga as a center back. I would have him over Sands. And not saying that Sands wasn't good at center back in the Gold Cup, but there were definitely matches, especially once Zimmerman went out, that Sands was very lackluster.
There's plenty of time. It's Monday when we're recording this show. There are plenty of flights from Mallorca to the United States. So
he's not at Mallorca.
I mean, Alaves. I'm sorry. You're so right. He's not a Mallorca. That would be Hoppy, and that would be tonight getting in my brain just a bit because we've been talking about Mallorca all night. But yeah, Alaves, you could come from there. You get a plane from Spain, out to fucking Austin, Texas. No problem. And I think, Miazga is one of those.
Just meet us in Panama. I don't care.
Or meet us in Panama, whatever you got to do. But I mean, Miazga's one of those chip guys, right? I mean, he's one of those like not arrogant, but he's got confidence in himself.
Mhm.
And maybe that isn't altogether 100% justified. But it's still somebody who I want in my lineup when a brutal fucking physical battle goes on in a game. It might be handy to have them if you go away to Panama and have to play a game. So there's that. Midfield. I think we still got McKenny. I think we're.
Hold on. Did we say right back? I have Dest.
Oh yeah, Dest. Yeah, we did say it. So, but in the midfield, we still have Adams, McKenny, and I'm saying it's going to be legit. I don't care if you don't like it, because that's what fucking Berhalter is going to do. So just suck it up and then just have to deal with it, just like all of us. We are going to have to deal with that reality.
It's definitely very, very possible, and I'm not saying it's not going to happen, but I do have Busio listed as my other 8 instead of legit. And it's strictly because of his comments during the presser, where he said, he's basically saying that he's very high on him. He's adapting well to Serie A. He's gaining confidence.
But he had a butt. What
was the butt? Did I miss the butt? What was the butt?
His butt was he's very good coming off the bench later in a game. That's what he said. Even after all the high praise, he said he's going to be a really great option starting or coming off the bench. And when somebody says starting or coming off the bench is where his brain is.
Can't help but thinking of Tuchel with Pulisic there.
Yeah. If you're going to say he's going to be really good starting, but I really like him off the bench too, he's coming off the bench. So that's what's going to happen. There's no way Busio starting in this first game. And if he does, I will eat crow. Eat it and like it.
Well, that holds no water for most people nowadays, because quite frankly, we've said a number of times how we enjoy eating crow if we're wrong. So,
but dude, we don't eat crow a lot. Like, we rarely get to eat it. So
I think Acosta was one of them, and I think there may have been one other opportunity in there.
Let me have the opportunity to eat some crow. It tastes like chicken. I don't mind it. It's okay. If braised and cooked properly. So let me eat that. If Busio starts, like you say, I will eat crow on the next show.
Well, and let's look at history for an example. First match against El Salvador away, it was Aronson, McKinney, and Adams. Now, mind you, that didn't pan out so well. But it does show that Berhalter is not necessarily quick to just throw Legit out there for Legit's sake. So
I agree with you, but after Legit's last performance versus Honduras, I think he gained more snuggle points.
Don't get me wrong, Legit had a great half, but it was coming in at halftime. I don't know. It's just
I know. We'll see.
We'll see. And again, I don't have a problem with Legit starting. I've said this from the get-go that I don't have. People are always like, "Oh, Legit's great, and I'm like, "Okay, that's fine. He can be on our roster. I don't mind that, but I'm not necessarily saying that he should start. If I had a full roster, I would not start him. But saying that if he did start, okay, we have 3 games in 6 days, so him starting a game is not going to be out of left field.
I think Moose has got a lot better chance to start in that spot over Legit than fucking Busio. I do. I think Moose has got a lot better shot. So
sure, with his 90 minutes he got this past week, especially. I mean, he's got the minutes, but I don't know. Busio's been on fire for the last 5 or 6 games, whatever it was been for Venezia. So we'll see what happens.
I mean, I wouldn't lose any sleep if it was Musa. I would love it if it were Musa, actually. And I wouldn't lose any sleep if it were Busio over Legit. But it's going to be Adams McKenny. Then we look out wide. And I think I had, using my Berhalter cap, I had on left, I had Aronson, and on right, I had Areola. So I think you have something different, because some people are saying Wea, but I think Areola is going to steal that spot from Wea. I really do.
Could be, and it depends on the how bad, or whatever the knock was he received this week, because there's a lot of talk for that. And again, obviously he's in camp. He's there. It's not a big issue. But I could also see Berhalter not necessarily starting him. So I have my list as Weah and Aronson, and that's who I'd prefer to see.
And even if that's the lineup, I prefer to see Aronson and Hoppy out wide, because we all know Pepe's playing the middle.
Yep. And let's squash this right now with as far as Hoppy's concerned. Berhalter during the presser had basically did everything but state that Hoppy's going to play out wide.
Yes,
he flat out stayed out. He's like, no, I know he can play up. He can play up center. That's great. Versatility is wonderful, but I like him out wide where he's able to cut in, create chances, and goal scoring opportunities. And he does a lot of runs through the back lines, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Basically, all the praise he gave Hoppy was about his presence on the wing. So yeah, I guess we can, unless some tactical change occurs in the middle of a game, I don't see Hoppy playing as a center striker by any means.
And Zardes could start at center forward, and or he couldn't, or he'll come in for Pepe, or Hoppy will come in for Weah, and Aronson will replace by Areola. It's like, listen, in this way, Pete's right. It's hard to say. So we're throwing out all kinds of scenarios here that could or could not happen, but it'll be interesting to see what really happens, who really and then we'll be back with that show when it happens. Did we miss anything? I think we covered everything. We did not say subscribe. We did not say like. So do those things. Visit the Patreon. We do have folks there, and we're working on some stuff. It might be that we do some interviews with people that you wouldn't expect that we might put on there. I don't know. We'll see.
I did want to quickly run down the players that Berhalter talked about in that presser, because a lot of it has to do with who's starting, who's not starting, et cetera, who's not called in and stuff like that.
Sure.
So with Musa, Greg had brought up, because somebody had asked him if he's going to continue using him as a center midfielder, despite the fact he's played as a winger for Valencia. But Berhalter made a comment. He goes, yeah, I see him as a center midfielder. And quite frankly, Valencia also sees him as a center midfielder, but they're playing him out wide as a necessity at this point.
Yep.
So that's interesting to take, because there's a lot of the fan base out there that'll simply call it out and say, like, oh, Berhalter's he's playing him out of position. He's not a center midfielder. He's a winger,
Yeah, but you're right. He's been playing, he's been playing winger because Valencia needed him to play winger. So it said, it cancels that out. And I think Musa can play that center midfield spot. So
and already covered, and we already know that there's been an official one-time switch, but Araujo is clearly playing for Mexico. Yeah, and that was more or less, again, just told but not told by Berhalter, when he's basically saying, yeah, Araujo's going to have a statement out soon. That's his statement to give. But then the one-time switch came out before that statement came out. So, okay.
It's nothing for any of us as fans to weep over. It happens. It just happens.
Yep.
And players got to make decisions, and it isn't because we didn't try hard enough. We did try, and it didn't. And that's one thing you can give Berhalter amazing plaudits about. He has tried. He's done well. He hasn't been up these guys' asses. He doesn't need. Nobody wants anybody up their ass. They just want the freedom to make a good decision, a decision that they can make for themselves and their families or whatever. So yeah, not a criticism you can level at Berhalter at all.
And an official statement that I always give, regardless of the dual national, it's their decision to make. When they make the decision, best of luck to them. But I've got zero interest at this point now. So I'm not really gonna cry over spilt milk. It sucks to lose any form of talent. But if their heart's not in it, then it's not in it. Let's move on.
And it may not be their heart. Their heart might be in two places, but they had to do something that was good for their career.
It could be. They could be using their brain as far as depicting, as far as where they see a longer career lasting, or an instant career.
Yeah.
Jumping immediately in as a right back might benefit him more because then maybe he gets a look abroad and move on from there.
Dude, you're looking at right back if you're Araujo. Dest is sitting right there. His big ass is sitting in your seat. And you're like, how am I ever going to take? He plays for fucking Barcelona. As long as that guy's healthy, he's the number one.
Yeah.
So, and then you're looking at Yedlin, and then you're looking at Moore, and now you're looking at Scally. It's like, fuck, dude, that shit's loaded. I got to go somewhere where I get a chance to play, maybe. And you know what? It might be a bad decision on his part because maybe he could have worked himself into that position. And
exactly what Moore did.
Yes,
Moore was not in the national picture at all. And then come Gold Cup, one injury to Cannon, and then all of a sudden he's in contention and he's called in this window, even though he's not playing for his club.
And then you got Cannon, who's fucked in his club situation. Then you got Reynolds, who's kind of fucked in his situation at Roma. So, but I do understand it. If I looked at the map of all the players at right back, I'd go, God damn, that's a lot of fucking competition. Let me look at Mexico's right back. Oh, that's not quite as deep. In fact, it's kind of shallow. I have a better chance there. Maybe not 100%, but maybe.
Yedlin's not getting any younger, and he's had a number of injuries recently. But then again, I guess the big concern there is that you're looking at Scally, who's 18, coming through the woodwork at Gladbach. So, I mean, your depth and challenge to find that starting spot is getting few and far between.
As a player, you're basically looking for the next 5 years. What's going to happen for the next 5 years, you know? And if that doesn't look like, whoa, shit, next 5 years, well, Death's going to be around for at least 10 more years. So that's fucked. Yedlin's maybe around the next 5 years, 3 years. That's kind of fucked. I won't get any playing time there. Oh, and there's that Reynolds guy at fucking Roma. And you got that Moore guy that Berhalter loves. And yeah, I mean, and Scally, who's kicking his ass at Gladbach, that's another fucking 10 years.
And plus, yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, you got to make a decision that makes sense for you. We've had German players that have done that and come play for us who played on German youth teams. Chandler, Fabian Johnson, Jermaine Jones. A lot of guys look at it and go, you know what? I got to make the right decision for me because I want to play in a World Cup. And that's how you got to sometimes, that's how those decisions, I know that doesn't sound great. That sounds like, oh, well, I'm just settling. No, you have to make that decision, especially if your heart lies in two countries. God, we've had this conversation.
And the whole settling thing is nonsense anyways, because even if they do opt, even if, let's say Jermaine Jones, let's say his heart was playing for Germany, but obviously the cards weren't in his hand by any means. And he opted to play for the United States. Just because he makes the switch over doesn't mean he's not going to try any less hard, than if he was for Germany. He's still going to come out and bust his ass to the best of his ability and move forward. And he did. And you know what? He wore that crest on on his sleeve and his heart in his sleeve and everything like that. So, yeah, just the concept of saying like, oh, we're the second choice now. Come on.
It's not that easy. Folks.
Well, and that's a great example with Araujo, because quite frankly, he came up through our youth national teams from like the U15s all the way up, all the way up to the senior level, pretty much. Yeah. And now he's making the one-time switch over to Mexico, given whatever reasons he's yet to really announce them. But that's up to him. That's his decision.
Yeah.
But yeah, you play in the youth national team for one nation and then eventually play for the other nation, another nation. For various reasons, but it doesn't take away that you're still torn between two nations there. So I mean, it's a tough situation for them to be in. They'll move on. We'll move on. Yeah, we'll win some. We'll lose some.
Yeah, we are, and we're winning a lot of them. Yeah, we're winning a lot of them. So as a second generation German American, I can tell you, it isn't as easy as just saying, well, I just love this one country and fuck the other one. That's not how it works. You love both countries, but it's hard to explain. And I've been in the United States long enough that I am accepted. I don't have an accent anymore, blah, 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 that I did when I was 4 or 5, when I moved here. It's for the first time. It's just, it's a tough thing to have to work out as a dual national. So let these kids do their thing. Let them work it out for themselves, and let's just embrace their decision. I think that's the only thing we can do right now.
3 more players to bring up, and then I'm done.
You got 3 more fucking players.
Well, I'm gonna group 2, so it'll be quick.
All right.
So Scally and Green both fell into the same category as the quote unquote not integrated category.
Yep.
For the excuse as far as why they weren't included. Make it what it is. We've already talked about it enough. And the last person was Luca De La Torre, and he talked about how he's been really interested and excited to see his dribbling ability and his combo plays in the midfield, and it's just bringing a different type of mentality to the midfield. So,
yeah,
we've been saying it for months now too, but for whatever reason, not included.
Yeah, I mean there were hitches, and
Gold Cup.
Yeah, De La Torre said he didn't want to come for one of the call-ups, and that's fine, but it's working out for him now. My question is how much time he's going to get. I'm not sure. I would love to see him start, actually. I would take him as well as Musa, as well as, I mean, Leget's fine, but, I just don't think that Greg's going to risk that in the first game. I think he's going to go with what he usually does, which is comfort. He wants his balls to be snuggled, and he does anything outside of the ball snuggling sphere is uncomfortable to him. So cue the meme of the giant panda playing with a big ball, because that's probably what I'm going to post here. Until the next time on the Straight Red Card, make sure you like, subscribe. Hey, we really appreciate everybody tuning in and commenting. Comment. We're nice guys. Well, Brett's nice. I'm less nice, but it all works out, right? It all works out. That's all that matters. Okay, we'll be back, I believe. So a couple things. We'll be back right after. It'll be the day after the first game on Thursday. So there will be a show out on, I would say, Friday, like 1 a.m. would be my guess.
We'll definitely be recording it because, hallelujah, they decided to schedule the game at a reasonable fucking time.
I know. So we won't be totally fucking lit trashed by the time we have to do the show. But
I won't be hating myself in the morning when I've got to drive to work.
Well, you might still do that.
You never know. You never know.
And then Pete from 11 Yanks will be on our show in October. It'll be after this window. And I think it might be the day after this window. I don't have my calendar in front of me, but yes, Pete will be here. And yeah, we've been in contact with him for a while. It's not surprising, but might be surprising that he's coming on our show, but it shouldn't be because we've talked about him enough here and we've been in contact with him. So he will be here. And then we are looking at Brian Schroeder probably also in the window break, and we'll get a time and date for that.
We'll also be on and we haven't got a date scheduled yet, but we'll also be on FIFA America's channel before too long.
Okay, yeah. So we'll be on FIFA America, another channel we watch. And I'm thinking about if we're missing anything. I think that's it. We're working on other things, folks. We're going to continue to that. We're going to have guests on, and we hope you like that. But again, thanks for watching. And until the next time on the Straight Red Card, yeah.